These numbers almost made me just poop my pants. The total retail sales for this upcoming 2024 holiday season are expected to reach $1.35 trillion, which is a 4.8% increase from 2023, which was already a record high. And e-commerce sales are also expected to grow 9.5% to $271 billion this year. And that includes digital products, digital courses, service-based businesses, digital entrepreneurs, online business owners. You only need a micro slice of this pie to have lifestyle changing cash. You're not too late. The market isn't too saturated. There aren't too many people doing it. It's not about that. It's about you positioning yourself, your brand, your services, your product in a unique way that is a perfect energetic and emotional match to your ideal client, the people you're meant to serve, not the greater population, simply your people. And that's all that has to be done. And this is a skill that can be learned. And I'm an expert in teaching it. This is part 3 of the Abundant Trifecta, which is all about manifesting in action. So let's go, honey. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. I really hope you've been enjoying this special series that I've been working on for months now, the Abundance Trifecta. Today is part 3, which is your implementation. Remember what I said in part 1 of we plan the work, we work the plan, and it's no different in how we apply bringing our manifestations from a dreamlike state into actual tangible reality. It's fun dreaming, it's fun thinking, it's fun fantasizing, it's fun visualizing. We love all of that, but you don't want to have all your manifestations stay out in the frequency of dreamland. You want them to come into your real life right here and right now. So you get to delight in them. So you get to experience the wonder and awe of the abundance that we are supposed to be able to have access to regularly in human form. And the reason you may not be experiencing your manifestations on a level that you would hope to be at this point, or some of the things that you have truly been wanting and craving and envisioning for years and why they haven't come in, or you think they are, but then another day it feels like they're getting further and further away. It's because of this part 3. Truly. Like this is the final capping on the entire thing. All 3 parts of this trifecta are equally as important, but where I find most people falling off are in the energy part, your magnetism, matching what you're wanting to manifest so that you can become a magnet for it, and the implementation. It's the consistency of the implementation in particular where I see people going sideways. And it has to do with the fact that you're not detaching from the timing. You are not detaching from how it's supposed to look as it's making its way into your actual reality. And you can get in your head and think, oh, it's not happening. Look, all these other things are happening. These negative things are happening. In fact, I feel like my life is falling apart. In fact, I feel like I'm making less money than ever. I have a friend right now who, on paper, her business is not looking cute. Yet the rest of her life, it is so clear that her shooting star is right there. I mean, it's about to happen. It could happen any day now. But if you look at the actual mathematics of it, it's like, well, then why isn't she like popping financially? What's going on? and things are moving into place. They just don't move into place in the exact order that would make you feel safe and secure and happy at the moment. Other things had to move into place before this other thing had to move into place, before the dotted lines all start connecting. And then she is going to have a, without a doubt, cash influx. And I know she's going to have it because she's remaining detached and she's remaining in faith and surrender that she knows it's happening. She can feel it's happening. And you have to trust that, because what is in front of you might be credit card debt. What is in front of you is you don't have that big of a client list going on right now. What is in front of you is maybe your sales have been down all summer. What is in front of you is maybe your social media account, your email list, your audience is growing at a snail's pace. But as long as you're doing the things I'm talking about here in this abundance trifecta, it is simply a matter of time. And the more you are dependent, meaning on your own happiness and well-being and serenity and even safety, on this thing happening or these series of manifestations you want to have happen, the more the universe is going to have you wait, so that you have to build that patience muscle, so that you have to practice detachment, so that you have to practice faith. This is also where you hear me talk about, oh, fuck's given. I want you to use that in detaching and helping you. I know it's coming. I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to keep obsessing and refreshing and pining and pushing to figure out how to grow my social media and why aren't more people signing up. And you're getting in that ego and that icky feeling, and it puts you in a dysregulated state. And I know that you hate that feeling, but the other option isn't taking your foot off the gas, disappearing, going off to never land. That's not good. That's actually kind of like a trauma response. It's like that all or nothing. I need you to live in that middle where there is, yes, you can experiment. And how about we try this? And how about we take a look at this? How about we go to Tiffany's 2-day mastermind experience that only happens once a year, where you will have your business and your manifestations accelerate faster than you ever have in your life. And I feel so confident in that. As long as you show up humble and willing to learn, I have the best of the best coming in for mindset, for somatic work, for subconscious work, for money healing work. And then you have me and my ProjectME Dream Team that are going to teach you the highest income generating skills that there are right now in this glorious time that we're in, where it's easier to make money than ever from your phone, from wherever you live, having a side hustle, multiple streams of income, however you want it to look, with the lowest cost of entry possible, with the most fun and the most ease. And you want to be able to jump a timeline. You want to quantum leap. You want to be able to go many, many steps ahead in this game of life, in this game of making money. This is your move. One, it's a tax write-off because you're learning from a top-tier marketing and business specialist and growing your business. So you can get PayPal credit for it. You can get a loan. You can go to a family member. You can take it out of your savings. I don't care. I used credit cards to start my first business. And last time I checked, that was a brilliant move that I made. It's an 8-figure business now. Find a way to make this happen. What I notice is there's many of you who will say to me, I can't this year. I'll go next year. I'll come when I'm making even more money, when I have more time, bobbity bobbity boo. Those are all resistances that you have to an opportunity to get you the lifestyle changing wealth and the freedom that you want. It doesn't make any sense. And I love you. And I don't need to be saying all this so that I'm trying to like get you and convince you to buy a ticket. I'm already heavily in the green on this event. Okay. I'm not in that space. Why I'm saying this right now so emphatically is I was you. I can be conservative to a fault, especially when it comes to betting on myself. And it's cost me more money, more energy, more in my health and in my overall well being than any other area of my life was playing cheap. And then I always go, if I only had done this sooner, if I only had hired this coach sooner, if I only had gone to the damn event sooner, if I only started the podcast sooner. There is no one that comes to my mastermind experience in a proper mindset that doesn't walk away having it all click where you'll get it. It'll be so clear and it'll be undeniable exactly what you need to do and how to do it. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind to grab one of the final spots. projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. It's October 1st and 2nd. Okay. Here in Manhattan Beach, California, I've rented a multi-million-dollar beachfront property. I didn't have to do that. I'd make a lot more money having this somewhere in middle America that's cheap as fuck. But I want you to taste and experience and relish in the abundance, because that's also what I teach and what is going to draw more of that to you and motivate you to stay in that consistent action. If you have any questions like, Tiff, I know I'm a question asker. I know everything's on the damn sign up page, but I just need to ask you a question to make sure this is an absolute perfect fit for me. I've invested in things before that weren't a good idea. I get it. DM me on Instagram at Project Me with Tiffany and you can do a voice text. Okay. In there. That's fine. And if you have to send me 3, that's fine. And if you're more of someone who wants to type it out, you can do it in the DMs or you can email us. And that email is on the registration page, projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. You can swipe up and get that link. You can go to the description here on YouTube, Project Me TV. Let's go make a move. You know what to do. So this whole all or nothing thing, this is where it's a red flag that we have an implementation problem in the trifecta. So I've been giving you homework for each part on what to focus on. And something in part 3, I really need you to do and take an honest inventory of yourself after you've finished listening to part 3 of which of these 3 areas in the trifecta do I feel I am the weakest in? And not to shame yourself, but so that you can be honest. Where am I not consistent? Where do I blow things off? And I want you to get curious. Why? My guess is it's probably not part 1. That's my guess. It's probably on the magnetism, the energy stuff, and for sure it's in the implementation because I've seen it over and over again. And like attracts like, and that's where mine was. And it can still be if I'm not careful and if I don't set things up to make sure I stay in the game, I stay in the act of manifesting and don't subconsciously even flip to the passive side, because the passive manifesting is going to feel super safe to your nervous system. You don't have to put yourself out there. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to have focus and write the email and put out the thing and feel awkward on video and pitch yourself to someone and risk rejection and, deal with maybe some nasty family member who likes giving these backhanded comments to you about doing stuff online and what you're doing. Because the more you shine, you're going to shine a big bright light on areas in people's lives where they're sitting in the dark and people do not like that. And that is not your problem. It's not like you're shining it on there on purpose and they don't like it and it triggers them. But then what it can do is it can make you just flip back to passive manifesting. Well, one day when the kids are older, when I'm feeling better, when I'm thinner, I'll do this. When I look a certain way, I'll do this. Oh, once I have the certification, then I'll do this. Oh, once I da 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 da. Once I have the money to coach with Tiffany, then I'll do this. It's all a fucking lie. It's a lie. I've done all these things and 10 years went by. Okay. And you can keep going like that, but I don't think you want 10 years to go by. In fact, I don't think you want another year to go by. We have to take action. And it's incredible what happens when you are implementing. What do we do when we have a plan? If you just have a plan, your kid wants to make the baseball team or the soccer team or whatever. You have a friend who really wants to be a yoga instructor. Let's even, break it down where it's something just so simple, like something that seems more straightforward than maybe like a bigger vision of yours or where you want to take your business or grow your business into. What would you say to someone who came to you, even if you're not like a business person, but there's just logical things, right? It's like, well, is there a training or a certification that's required that you need? What are the steps to be able to do this? You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to implement. You don't tell a kid, you wouldn't tell your friend, well, just keep visualizing it and just keep being an energetic match to it and it'll happen. It will not. It will not happen. You have to make moves. And if you're just going to make some toe dipping moves and think you're fooling God, think you're fooling the universe, think you're fooling spirit, that's fun. That's funny. That doesn't fool anybody, right? Those toe dipping moves. Oh, I'll do a logo, or I'll come up with a name for a podcast, or I'll plan out like a course that I'm going to do, or I'll study other people's social media and see what I can do. I'll just keep, figuring it out and trying different things. That's all toe dipping. These are all micro moves, and micro moves get you micro results. Micro moves do not manifest the big things you're wanting to call into your life. You're going to have to rip off a band-aid and make some big moves. And you know how, like, you'll hear some people say, like, motivational speakers, some of the basic ones will be like, just take one step a day. And I'm not saying one step a day isn't better than nothing. Okay. It is. But if you're wanting what you want and you want this faster and you want this in a bigger way where it truly changes your life and the lives of others, that's why you listen to me. That's who I'm here to coach. You don't need me to pacify you and go, well, that's great that you researched this one thing today. That's great that you were able to get one post done. I'm not saying if you're in a really bad way sometimes and that's the best that you can get out, that's okay. I have days like that too. But that's also not going to get you where you want to go. What moves are you making to make it clear that this is not an option for me to not have this? Where it's not an option. I am setting it up so failure isn't an option. I'm setting this up so it can't not happen. In fact, it is a happening. There's no way it can't happen. And I don't mean in a careless way, I mean in a strategic way. So, giving an example, I set my podcast up by making sure I hired an editor because I knew if I had no desire to learn how to edit a show. If I had to, I know it wouldn't go well. Okay. It'd be like a barrier to entry. I paid someone to do a website, all the tech stuff, because that's all the stuff that gives me a rash I don't know. I paid someone to help with like the podcast cover art and Canva. Then I made myself start studying and testing and putting stuff out there on social media. And of course it was awkward. Of course it was weird. If I cringed at myself, if I went back and saw some of these videos now, I'd be laughing and doing a full body cringe. But I would also go, I was willing to look a fool. I was willing to be awkward. I was willing to be messy. I was willing to be clueless. I was willing to make mistakes because that's what's required, because that is implementing your plan. That's implementing your vision. That's implementing your manifestation. So that motherfucker implants in your life. So yeah, I spent money and I still spend money. How does it look when you're further on, further down the road? Because it doesn't change. This trifecta doesn't change whether you are making $0, you're making $100,000, you're making $10,000 a month. You're where I'm at, where you're making 6 fucking figures a week, which is still crazy for me to say. Like, what? This is wild. It's wild on here. Remember, this year again is going to be a record-breaking year in online sales. And that's just the holiday season where I gave you the numbers from. That's not the peak online buying season of September 15th to January 15th. So it's even higher than what I'm telling you. $1.35 trillion, a 4.8 increase from last year. And last year was already a record high. And online sales are growing to 9.5% above last year, which last year was a record high. It's another record high. It's only becoming more and more and more and more. It's right here for you. I know you see it. You see it in the receipts in me. And I would imagine you see it in the receipts of other people where you see it's possible. And you're like, okay, like I know it's possible for me. How do I get there? If you don't know the how and you're stuck at the how, maybe you're already making coin in your business, but you're trading all your time for money. You're not making coin with anything passive or multiple revenue streams. You're not seeing how to scale it so it's true lifestyle changing cash for you. Then come to the mastermind. The how is here for you, but you've got to put skin in the game. For this training that I just did on August 28th, which shout out to those of you who were able to get on the live and were able to score one of those seats. And I want to remind you that live replay that I generously am giving for free for 10 days, and then we start charging for it. Those days are counting down. Okay. And this is my birthday week, by the way. So at least if you want to do something for my birthday, write a review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts. It's the only place where you can actually write a review. If you're not an Apple Podcast listener, tap the 5 stars on Spotify, take a screenshot, share this episode on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. If you're a YouTube watcher, subscribe, share the show, take a screenshot, share the show, write in the comments. That would be a delightful birthday present. And go watch the replay. And you can still get instant access to the replay for a couple more days for free by going to ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/special training. But don't get mad at the cutoff. I had been talking about it a lot. Now, why I even brought up that training is I made the choice to pay and invest in ads, driving people to the training. It's a free training. So it's not like my ass is making money back on those ads, right? Like it's me building visibility. It's me building goodwill for my brand. It's me exposing more people to my way of teaching. It's also my way of giving back. But I have set it up so I can't fail. How do I get to the next level and the next move and the next rung and the next stack of abundance that's right here waiting for me to be on that frequency? I have to make bigger, bolder moves. And I made a bigger, bolder move to increase my overall visibility, because visibility is your greatest currency, as Gary Vaynerchuk says. And I totally agree. If people don't know you exist, it doesn't matter. You can have the best book, the best song, be an amazing healer, an amazing artist. You could have great products. You could be an incredible service provider, but it doesn't matter. You're going to stay hidden in the shadows. So I invested in my visibility. And yeah, while there's no guarantees in advertising, I can tell you right now, I would be guaranteed to not continue to increase the revenue in my business, to increase the amount of people that I help and serve in my business, if I kept taking actions from where I was at. And I really hope that lands for you, because not to take away from actions you've taken to get to where you are today. I know a lot of you had to claw your way there. I know, because I fucking did. I totally get it. And I'm not taking away from it. But that's going to get you to where you're at now. Those same actions not going to get you to where you want to go, not to your next level. It's not like you reach a certain point and you go, oh, perfect. I can stop taking risky actions, spending money, doing stuff that feels vulnerable and scary, and then just keep calling it in. Yeah, I wish that was the case. That's not the case, because then you'd stop growing. And we're meant to continue growing here for that predetermined lifespan that we have no idea how long we're here for. And one thing I can tell you that's non-refundable is your time. And how much more of it do you want to waste staying in your current level of abundance when you could be implementing and taking action and actively manifesting so that you have that next level of abundance that comes to you? I wouldn't be at this beach house if I didn't do some majorly uncomfortable things. I wouldn't be at this next level that I'm going to now if I wasn't doing more uncomfortable things. So ask yourself the question. And even if this is where I'll say, even if it's one thing, okay, let's do some toe dippy actions. Okay, so we've got those in there. Then I want some, like, I've got both of my feet in, like, I'm on the steps of the pool. I need to see those actions, which likely you're probably doing those. Like, a toe dippy action is listening to this podcast. Okay. And then actually implementing what you learn on this podcast. Now you're in, right now you're in the steps of the pool. I need you to commit. We're in September. We are days away from peak online money making season. I need you to go, I'm going to take one jumping in the damn water, a full cannonball jump action of implementation so that puts me at an energetic match for that next level of abundance that I want. And don't fool yourself and convince yourself that this is some big action when it's really not. You'll know, because you'll be like, oh my God, should I do it? And for some of you, it's coming to my mastermind. For others of you, it's joining my posse membership, especially before the summer special sale ends. For some of you, it's actually showing your face on video and having a non-negotiable where you're showing your face on camera every fucking day. Right? For some of you, it is leasing the space for your healing center. For some of you, it is saying, all right, I'm investing in inventory for my sweatshirt line that I want to put out there. What is the big move action? Because the cost of not implementing, you end up staying at this frequency that isn't even the same. What's interesting that the universe does for us and God does for us is you'll start sliding backwards. You won't even stay in comfy land where you're at. That's an illusion, because I had this conversation with a client of mine who, she has $1 million a year business and she wants to take it to 5 million. You know, I work with people starting from 0 to people who are wanting to scale to 8 figures to big multi-billion-dollar businesses. And her problem we identified, I'm not saying her name because I didn't ask her permission, and she is comfy where she's at. She's like, I have a great lifestyle. I'm not someone who needs to buy a private jet. That's not my motivation. and it's comfy here. So then to stretch myself and do those bigger moves to get to the 5 million a year, then to get to the 10 million a year, I don't want to lose what I have. And it's like, but it only gets better and better. You'll actually lose what you have. It'll start slowly slipping away if you stay where you're at, if you stay stagnant, because stagnant energy is not growth energy. And eventually, being stagnant, you'll feel unfulfilled, unmotivated, maybe even depressed, maybe anxious, depending on your makeup. And you'll start slowly sliding back. It's kind of like when weight creeps on. You take your foot off the gas from being more mindful about your food and movement, and it happens slowly and you don't notice it and you kind of think you're getting away with it. And then before you know it, you go to try on a dress for something and it doesn't even zip and reality slaps you in the face. It's no different than when it comes to money. So don't fool yourself. You taking bigger, bolder moves and bigger, bolder risks, it gets better and better and bigger and bigger. It doesn't get worse and worse and worse. In order to have more abundance, you're not going to lose what you have. But it's an interesting fear that happens. And I notice this happens with people once they have the taste of freedom, the taste of having wealth, the taste of feeling financially secure. I know it feels so good. And I can go into a full spun out tizzy and we're like, I don't want to end up losing everything. And then I'll be living in a tent because I don't have someone else who's supporting me. The backup plan is the Bank of Tiffany Carter, and I'm like, oh my God, I put all this on the line. I've spent more money this year on growing my investment portfolio, investing in other companies. Okay. And investing in my own brand and ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and business coaching brand, than I ever have in my life. And to where it also doesn't make sense. And I've invested more in my pleasure in terms of travel and the type of travel and luxuriating opportunities. And yeah, I have stuff that comes in my head of, do you think you're kind of spending at a fast rate? Are you being irresponsible? I mean, before the year was even half over, you already spent $700,000, Tiff. You think you need to maybe slow down? Like those are the little tickles our ego will do. And the truth is, I'm the opposite of an irresponsible spender. I'm actually conservative to a fault. So I have to remind myself of these facts. And so with this client, I said, I know your brain's going to do that critical parent to you with the waving finger. Well, this is irresponsible. You should just be happy with what you have. Isn't this enough? Shouldn't you be grateful? Well, that's called toxic gratitude. That's shame. That's actually the lowest vibrating emotion. You're not going to shame yourself into abundance. I promise you that. You keep shaming yourself, that's what will have you slip backwards. If we use this whole weight gaining analogy, if I shame myself for having a couple days where I I'm eating off the rails and I eat like crap, and I just keep beating myself up for it, that's only going to set me up for probably rebelling and eating more days like shit, which is going to get me further and further away from how I want to feel. It's no different when it comes to money. And so this client of mine came to me in my DMs and said, I've been at this $1 million a year mark for 3 years now. And she goes, and I know that sounds ridiculous and I should be happy. And I knew right away what was going on, right? By her saying that. And she said, but I can't stand this any longer. I'm losing my mind. It's making me feel kind of hopeless and lost in life. And I know there's so much more for me to do here. And I know how many more people I can help and serve. And I need to get out of my own way. And I have admitted now that I cannot do this on my own. I don't know what my problem is. What's the highest level way to work with you? What's the all in holy grail way? And sign me up. And I knew right where she was at. And truly, I said to her, I'm happy you're feeling this way. I hate that it took you 3 years, but better 3 than 10. And I'm glad you're feeling this way, because it's only when we feel so sick and tired of being sick and tired of our own shit, of not being able to have the options that we want to have, do what we want to do, when we know we're really toe dipping. After a while, you kind of are disappointed in yourself, you know? You're like, what the hell is this? This isn't a good example for people around me. Like, this isn't the kind of person that I want to be. This is not how I would want to be remembered, or a legacy. Like, this isn't living. This is actually like being in some form of survival mode. And so, what is your all in action? And what is it? And don't fool yourself what that is. What's an action that absolutely seems wild for you to do? And that is the action that you need to do. If you're someone who is an overthinker, overanalyzer, my guess is you're someone who can be conservative to a fault. You play it too safe. I've never met someone, and I've lost a lot of people in my life, who were on their deathbed or near death or a very old age, that ever said, I wish I didn't take any risks. I wish I played life more conservatively. I wish I played it safe. Never once have I heard someone say this. What I've heard them say is, I wish I had done this and this. I had more that I wanted to do, but I either ran out of time, or I wasted time, or I didn't know I didn't have as much time. And we don't know how much we're going to get. So it's your choice. Do you want money to move in your direction? Then you've got to make moves that are on the same vibrant energy as you want it to be received in. So you want things to happen faster, you've got to make a bolder move. It works both ways. We co-manifest this stuff. You don't get to want it faster and want it bigger while you're over here toe dipping away, sitting on the steps of the pool. I wish that worked. My nervous system, my scaredy cat ways would much prefer it, but it doesn't work that way. And let me tell you, all you need is for a few times of having the evidence of what happens when you make a bold move, and seeing and detaching from the outcome, and having the knowing and trusting and getting the result of that. Now you have it in your evidence bank to go back to. That doesn't mean you're not going to get scared again. That doesn't mean you're not going to spin out. Okay. Like, we're crazy brained people. This is what we're going to do. But I have facts of an evidence bank to go back to. Tiffany, have you ever lost when you've bet on yourself? No motherfucking way I haven't. You know when I've lost is when I put my time, energy, and money into someone else's vision for me, or for someone else's thing that I wasn't really super passionate about. And I wasted years of my life doing that. That's where I've made some moves that can go back into the other direction. So that's your homework here today. What are your, like, list them out. What are my toe dippy moves that I'm making towards the money that I'm wanting to call in? Because this trifecta is all about bringing in and manifesting money in particular. Does this trifecta apply to any area of your life you want to manifest? It does, but the series I focused it on money in preparation for this peak, insane, multi-trillion dollar season. And then I want you to go, what are my, okay, I'm on the stairs of the pool moves. And then I want you to go, okay, what's me jumping in? The water I know is going to be ice cold, but fuck it. I'm jumping in and I'm doing it. And if anyone's ever done it, whether it's in like a pool or in a natural body of water, It's so scary, but once you're in and you've done it, the high is so incredible. It's such an amazing feeling. And I love witnessing it in my clients in real life at the mastermind when we see people who you can tell they've gone to the fuck it. Like, I've done it. I'm here. I'm doing it. I did it. I'm here. I made the bold move. I invested in myself and in my business and in my future for coming. And it's paying off right here, right now, as we speak, all together with these amazing people, oceanfront in a beach mansion while I'm having the time of my life. Okay, I get it. This is what abundance is. This is true, pure abundance, and it only gets better and better and better. And I don't have to sacrifice anything anymore to get it. That's not true. It was fake news. The truth is that we get to nourish ourselves. We get to prioritize our well being. And in fact, the more that we do and the more fun that we have, the more money that we make. If you love this series and you appreciate this podcast and adore me, please, for my birthday gift, leave a 5-star written review of the show on Apple Podcasts. Take a screenshot of the show, share it on social media, and tag me TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm at Project Me with Tiffany. If you're a Spotify listener, tap the 5 stars, and on Project Me TV, you can subscribe there on YouTube, leave a comment, all the things. And the moves that you can make if you want to make those moves with me are all in the show notes. And they're also in my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok. And I would be honored to be your coach and show you the way. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.